it'll all make sense when you're older. We all grew up hearing that, right? I'm sure you've heard it at least once in your life. And, have you ever looked back at your life and thought, damn, I really did not know how good I had it? And it's not because your life is bad now or because you want to go back, but because when you're younger, you don't realize that you're living through moments that you're gonna miss. Every little thing that's happening around you when you're younger, you don't realize that it's just gonna be a passing memory at some point. You know, and then you start to realize that those days, right, where it was just normal, you weren't even doing nothing with your life for real, you're just kind of existing. Those were the most important most important days of your life. I'm sorry. Um, and obviously when you're young, you're not thinking about any of that. You're just kind of living, existing, like I just said. And I think that's one of the weirdest parts about getting older. When you're a kid, you can't wait to grow up. You want to drive, you want money, freedom, make your own decisions. And you think being older means that you finally get to be free. And then you get older and you realize that you were free the whole time. You just didn't know it. So if I could sit down with different versions of myself, right? 10-year-old me, 13-year-old me, 16-year-old me, even 20 to 21-year-old me, and that's a couple years ahead from now. I'm only 18 right now, but what would I actually tell them? What would I want them to know before they learned the lessons I had to the hard way? And honestly, I think it comes down to one big idea, right? Which could surround this whole video, which is just slow down. Slow down, right? Everybody will tell you this in your life, right? Everyone's gonna tell you to slow down. And there's gonna be points in your life where you feel like you can't. You feel like you can't slow down, you can't stop for anything. And like you gotta keep moving, you gotta, you know, you have a lot more time than you think. And you're gonna miss things that you don't even realize you're living through right now. It could even be this video. I doubt that it will be this video, but maybe you will miss being whatever age you are right now, watching this video, trying to get advice from some random dude on YouTube. Maybe you'll miss it. I don't know. I can't speak for you, but that might be the case for you eventually, years from now, maybe even a week from now. But yeah, let's start with 10-year-old me. All right. And I know what I'm about to say is not very original, but I don't think anybody's really original when they're 10 years old. Everybody kind of goes through the same pattern, the same thing. So if I could talk to the 10-year-old me, I would tell him, stop trying to grow up so fast. Because when you're a kid, being an adult looks like the life. Go wherever you want. You get money, get cars, you get your own decisions. And you're sitting there thinking, man, when I'm older, I'll be able to do whatever I want. And you don't realize that being a kid comes with that type of freedom that you don't ever get back. No matter how rich you get, how successful you become, how much older you get, you'll never get that freedom back. And actually, I could excuse my language. I could even say now. All right, at only 18 years old, I can already say that I wish I could get that freedom back. Um, because you don't have to know what you're doing with your life. You don't have to worry about money. You don't need to have a future planned. You can just kind of exist. I mean, that's kind of all you can do as a kid, right? It's just kind of exist and just do whatever. You can spend hours on a game or go outside and play or get excited about the smallest things. And nobody expects you to have everything figured out, right? And personally, right, and this is just my own opinion, I don't think anybody ever has anything figured out, which is more of a reason to just slow down and enjoy life. Nobody has anything figured out. You either find something that works for you and you stick to that pattern, or you just take a risk and you just keep experimenting and you keep finding more ways to get by. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just my own personal opinion. and I'm absolutely open to other opinions that could, differ from mine. Um, but yeah, I told 10-year-old me, slow down and enjoy being a kid. Don't be embarrassed about being excited. Don't worry about looking cool. Don't worry about what people think. Be weird. Ask questions. Explore. Make things. Create. Draw. Play. Laugh. Because you're gonna grow up eventually. So what's the point of rushing it? And I think I tell them something that I think a lot of people need to hear, and even myself. You know, um, people aren't thinking about you as much as you think they are. That embarrassing thing that you did, they forgot about it already. The awkward thing you said, forgotten. You're gonna spend so much time worrying about how you're being perceived when everybody else is worrying about themselves. So live. Now for the 13-year-old me. Now, if you follow my music, then you know that 13 has always been my trademark. 13 baby, that's me. Um, it's just kind of a little nickname I go by besides Halo. And reason of that is because 13 was a very big year in my life. I feel like as it is for a lot of people, most people probably, it was very, I'd say, foundational year in my life where I kind of really started discovering who I am and what I wanted to do. And it's also when I started taking risks. Also 13 is supposedly an unlucky number. So I try to twist it around and, if I make it in music, then I guess it ain't really an unlucky number, you know? And it kind of shows that, no matter how something is perceived, you don't really understand it or really know what's going on with it until you see for yourself. Everybody says 13 is an unlucky number. I'm about to make it my lucky number. Feel me? So, 13-year-old me, right? 13 is when everything starts changing. You start caring about how you look. You start caring about what people think. Caring about girls, boys. This is for whatever gender or whatever sexuality you are. It doesn't matter, right? You start caring about partners, right? Significant others, right? Ones of interest. You start comparing yourself to everybody, and then when social media is around, it's even worse, right? You open your phone, you see somebody your age, richer than you, more attractive, more popular, more successful, and now you're wondering, what's wrong with me? So I would tell 13-year-old me, stop comparing your beginning to somebody else's life, right? You have no idea what somebody else is dealing with, right? The same way that nobody had any idea what you were dealing with. And more importantly, you're 13. You're supposed to be figuring things out, right? You don't need to know who you're gonna become. You don't need to know your career or what you're gonna need to know to live, where you're gonna live, who you're gonna marry, right? You're only 13. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to try something and realize you don't like it. You're allowed to become a completely different person because that's what growing up is. 13 to me is the year where you start to really discover yourself, right? And that's what everybody says because it's true. And it's a big lesson I've learned also growing up. The things that adults tell you, it's 100% true. It may not make sense now, but when you're older, yeah, full circle, right? I think I'd also tell myself that don't let one person become your whole world. All right, of course, friends are important, relationships are important, but don't lose yourself trying to keep somebody else in your life. Some are gonna stay, some are gonna leave, some are gonna be in your life for years, some might be there for a couple months, and it doesn't mean that the relationship isn't real, right? Or that the love wasn't there. Not everything has to last forever to be meaningful. Sometimes somebody can come into your life, change you, give you memories, teach you something, and then leave. And that's okay. You'll learn that eventually. Because that's life. That's that doesn't ever change. That's forever. Now 16-year-old me. Now let me give you a little backstory for this one. I'm gonna keep it very, very short and simple. When I was 16, um, I was doing a lot of things I definitely should not have been doing. Around a lot of people I should not have been around. Just doing horrible things and just delinquent activities, and I honestly had lost myself to a point where I just like completely like super insecure. I started putting on a lot of weight. I grew up my hair and started hiding behind it. Stopped dressing up. I really stopped taking care of myself. Like horrible. Like really bad. I really was not taking care of myself. It was bad. Now, at 16, clearly I have a lot more to say. Because this is when you start feeling like you need to figure things out. Right? Everybody starts asking, what are you gonna do after high school? What career do you want? What's your plan? And you're sitting there thinking, I don't fucking know. Excuse my language again, but right, let's be realistic. Let's be real. Right? When you're 16, it's blunt. You don't know what you're gonna do. When I was 16, I didn't even know what college was for real. All my friends were like, "Yeah, I'm going to college. I'm going to college." I'm like, I don't even know how that works. I don't even know how to get into a college. I don't know how to apply for a college. I don't even know what the degrees are, what to study for. I didn't even know that there were things to study for. I didn't know what a professor was. Nothing. I didn't know nothing about college for real. Um, I was just working my job, my part time job in a food industry, and that's it. That's all I had going for me, really. So yeah, you're sitting there thinking, I don't know what I'm gonna do in my life. I don't know. I'm like 16. You're like a junior in high school at that time. You don't need to know yet, right? I wish more people understood that. You have time. Don't let the pressure of figuring out your entire future ruin the years you're currently living, because you'll never get these years back. And I tell 16-year-old me, stop being afraid to fail. You're gonna fail anyways. So you might as well fail trying something you actually care about. Alright? That might sound a little pessimistic. Again, I'm sorry, right? But this is the reality. This is life, right? You're gonna fail no matter how hard you try. All that matters is that you just keep going. Just keep going. You're gonna keep failing. It is what it is, right? You don't learn unless you fail. Right. So at least fail doing something that you really care about, like making a song or posting a video, starting the channel. This channel was supposed to be around when I was 16. Everything that I've been doing this year is to make up for the time that I should have been doing it when I was 16. So yeah, learn a skill, ask questions, take opportunities, try something you've never done. Right? Do it bad, because nobody starts good. You only see people after they already got good, after they already have their results. You don't see the 100 terrible songs that they made before the one that works. You don't see the failed videos, the embarrassing attempts. You don't see the nights they wanted to quit. So don't compare your beginning to don't compare your beginning to somebody else's middle. There we go. I'd also tell 6-year-old me, take more pictures. Pictures of your friends, your room, your neighborhood, the random nights, random days, the stupid stuff. Because one day you're gonna look at one of those pictures and you're gonna realize, I haven't been there in years, or I don't talk to that person no more, or that was before everything changed. And suddenly, that one stupid picture is gonna be everything to you, because we never know which moments are gonna become memories. Right? We're all just living. Now, I can definitely say I did not take a lot of pictures when I was 16. Again, I was very insecure, and I was wanting to settle down with this girl for like the rest of my life, which was a horrible idea. Right? All love to her. I wish her the best. I hope she's becoming a better person. right? And I have faith that she will. Um, right? And I haven't been around to know or see, right? It's been 2 years now. I have no idea, but I really do wish her the best, and I hope that she figures something out for herself. But yeah, just due to the life that I was around, the people I was around, where I was around, the things I was doing, I didn't take much that's documenting, right? I So everything that happened when I was 16 is kind of a blur, right? And that is also due to the things I was doing when I was 16. You know, a lot of things I was doing is very head and heart rushing, very adrenaline inducing. So a lot of memories just really fuzzy. But yeah, something I tell to every version of myself is mm, most of the things that you're stressing out about right now won't matter forever, right? That embarrassing moment, probably give it a year. The breakup, give it time. The person who don't like you, you forget about them, right? The opportunity you didn't get, there's gonna be another one. That mistake, you'll learn from it. We have a tendency to treat temporary. Mm, it's a little hard to speak right now. We have a tendency to treat temporary. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, I think it's clear that I'm not very good with words. You know, I've never really been good with words. I'm not the best with my words. I can't even read off my own script, bro. All right, let's lock in. Let's lock in. We have a tendency to treat temporary situations like they're permanent. Like you have a bad week and suddenly your life is bad. You fail at something and suddenly you think you're a failure. You lose somebody and suddenly you think you'll never find love again. That's not how love works. Feelings aren't predictions. Just because something feels permanent doesn't mean it is. Your life can change so quickly, and it will. A year from now, you could be a completely different person. You can meet people who change your life. You could discover something you're passionate about. You could accomplish something that you thought was impossible. You could be living somewhere completely different. You don't know, and you never will know. So don't give up on your life because you don't like the chapter you're currently in. It's a chapter, not the whole book. Now, there's this quote I've heard that says something along the lines of, "We never knew we were making memories. We were just having fun." I think that is one of the truest. My apologies. I think that's one of the truest things ever, because that's not how memories actually happen. You don't know that it's the last summer you'll spend with certain people. You don't know it's gonna be the last time everyone's gonna be together. You don't know that the random conversation you're having with somebody might be one of the last conversations you ever have. You don't know. You're just there, laughing, talking, listening to music, driving around, playing games, eating, doing nothing. And then years later, you'd give anything to experience that exact moment again. That's why I think we need to stop waiting for our lives to become meaningful, because your life is already happening. The moment you're waiting for might be happening right now. So, to my 20 and 21-year-old self, right? I guess this is a little bit documenting I'm doing for myself now. It's something to look back on when I'm older, right? And God forbid I don't make it to 20 to 21. I really hope I do. I know I will, right? I'm gonna do everything in my power, everything that I possibly can to make sure I live a long, lasting life, right? So, if I could talk to myself at 20 and 21, I'd say don't lose your childhood joy. That's something I genuinely hope I never lose, right? Curiosity, wonder, the feeling of wanting to see what's around the next corner, wanting to travel, wanting to learn, wanting to make something, right? Wanting to experience something new. I hope I never stop being curious about life. Because growing up doesn't mean you have to become boring, right? It doesn't mean to stop dreaming. It doesn't mean everything has to become work, money, responsibilities, and routine. You can grow up without growing out of yourself. Take that kid you used to be, let him grow with you. Still get excited over stupid things. Still laugh too hard. Go on adventures, make things, play, ask questions, dream. Because what's the point of becoming an adult if you lose everything that made being alive exciting? Right? Think about it like this. I want you to find a picture of your younger self, right? Whether that was you as a baby or in elementary school, middle school, high school, right? Just any time that you were younger. And just think about what that kid's dreams were, right? Because when I was a kid, my dream was, I don't really know. I wanted to be like a dentist, right? Or a doctor. I want to be either a doctor, a dentist, or a mechanic, or an engineer, right? Or my biggest goal was to be a rapper, right? To be a famous artist, a recording artist. I want you to look at that picture and yeah, think about what was that kid's dreams, and look at where you are now. Have you made any progress? Are you any closer? Are you at least capable of doing those things now? Right? Because this whole year I've been thinking about it. Right? I see these old pictures. I have my wall right here. Right? Yeah, y'all see this in most of the videos. I just have these like baby pictures of myself and pictures of my friends and myself and family, and I sit here and I think, damn, sorry, excuse my language again. Like I never thought I'd make it this far in life. Look at me now. I'm doing everything that I wanted to do as a kid. Right? I have my own room with all my favorite things all over the walls. I have cool clothes. I have money. I can buy things that I want. I still got my stuffed animal from when I was a child right there, because that's like my message to myself, right? I'm always gonna take care of this tiger. I'm just gonna grab it for y'all real quick. Hold on. Okay, we got it. We got it. Ignore my pants. I'll probably have to cut that part out. That's the only part. All right, that's gonna be the only part I cut out. Me getting this thing, but this tiger I've had my whole life. Whoa, my camera is lagging like crazy. Whoa, that's strange. Well, this is the tiger I've had my whole life. All right, since I was a kid. I keep it around me, right, and I always take care of it. As you can see, this tiger still looks like the first day I got him, and it's just like a friendly reminder to myself that, you know, you don't gotta stop being a kid. You know, just because you're an adult doesn't mean you gotta be boring. You know, like there's the little kid, right? The little you that had those dreams and aspirations is still inside of you. It's all up here and in here, right? I still have the same skin from when I was a child, you know? Everybody does. Everything about you now is no different from when you were a child. Right? We still carry the exact same heart, the same brain, the same lungs, same organs as when we were a child, right? So why stop dreaming like one? Why stop believing like a child does, you know? So yeah. Don't rush time. I think that's probably the biggest lesson here. It's just don't rush time. Because when you're young, you're always waiting for something. For summer, your birthday, the drive to graduate, move out, have money, be successful, the next relationship, the next big thing, right? And then you realize, while you were waiting for your life to start, you were already living it. That's the crazy part. There is never going to be a point where everything is perfect. Like my hair right now. Definitely not perfect, but I'm sorry, pardon me, I'm going off script again, but yeah, there's never gonna be a point where everything is perfect. There's always gonna be another goal, another problem, another thing you want. So you have to learn how to enjoy the part that you're in. Because if you keep saying, I'll be happy when, I'm happy when I have money, when I'm successful, when I move, when I find somebody, when I look different, when I get there, you're going to spend your whole life waiting. So enjoy it now. Not because your future doesn't matter, but because one day your future is going to be your present. You're going to look back at today and realize that you were living through another moment you didn't know you'd miss. So let's let it breathe a little bit, right? If you're young, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, whatever age you are, you have a lot more time than you think. You don't need to have everything figured out, right? You don't need the perfect relationship. You don't need the perfect career, body, friend group, life. You just gotta keep going, keep learning, keep trying, keep creating, exploring, and asking questions. And most importantly, stay curious. Because curiosity is what keeps you young. If there's one thing that I hope I never lose, it's that. I hope I never stop wanting to learn. I hope I never stop wanting to explore. I hope I never stop getting excited about something new. I hope I never lose childhood joy. Because I don't want to grow up and look back and realize I spent all my time trying to become an adult that I forgot how to be alive. And if I could leave every version of myself with one message, it would be, don't rush. Take the picture. Call your friends. Tell your family that you love them. Go outside. Make a song. Make a video. Take a trip. Have a conversation. Laugh until your stomach hurts, bro. Make mistakes and learn from them. And enjoy your life. Because you're never going to be this age again. This exact age. Right? Like, you're never going to be, like, what age am I right now? 18, couple months and something seconds. Or a couple hours, I'm never going to, look, it just passed. Those seconds just passed. I'm never going to be that age again. We're forever growing, forever getting older. And yeah, it's kind of sad, right? But it's also beautiful because tomorrow you're going to be somebody you've never been before. You're going to be somebody that you have never been before. One more time. You're going to be somebody that you've never been before. There are places you've never seen. People you've never met, songs you've never heard, things that you've never learned, memories you haven't made yet. There is still so much life left to experience. So here's to getting older without forgetting how to be young. Here's to becoming wiser without becoming less curious. And here's to whatever comes next. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but I want to find out. And I hope you do too. Because maybe everything does make sense when you get older. You just have to keep living long enough to understand why.